Listen, I made some homemade salmon patties and some homemade Old Bay tartar sauce, and baby, let me tell you, these things was good. You hear me? So you know I had to come back to give y'all the full recipe because I ain't selfish, okay? So I'm gonna start off with the tartar sauce. I'm gonna use 1 cup of Miracle Whip. I'm using 1/4 cup of homemade pickles. You can use dill pickles if you don't have homemade. About a tablespoon of fresh dill, 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice, a half a teaspoon of granulated sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper, and of course it ain't a recipe without the garlic, so I put 1 teaspoon of garlic paste in there, 2 teaspoons of Old Bay seasoning, and I did not show it y'all, but I did add some salt in there to taste. Okay, so don't forget to add the salt in there. You're just putting it in there to taste. Now for the salmon, this is fresh salmon. Okay, this is approximately 1.5 pounds of fresh salmon. Okay, I'm gonna drop that in the pan on medium high heat and some cooking oil. Don't matter what cooking oil you use, whatever you want to use is fine. And I'm gonna let this salmon cook for about 4 minutes on each side. Now I know you will hear some people say the skin side go down first. It really don't matter, y'all. You can put whichever side you want down first. Either way, we making salmon patties, so this skin is coming off. And once I took that skin off, I let it cook for an additional, I think like a minute or two on that side that I just took the skin off. And this is what it is looking like, because I did want it to have like a little nice crust on there, have a little crispiness to it. So as you can see, that's what it's looking like. Now once that's done, I'll remove that from the eye, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put that in a large mixing bowl. While it is hot, I'm gonna break it up. One, because we gotta break it up to make the patties, and two, it's gonna help with cooling the salmon down quicker. Now I would say let this salmon cool for at least an hour. I made this video over the course of 2 days, so my salmon did cool overnight, but just let it cool in the fridge for at least an hour. Okay, so while that's cooling, I'm gonna go ahead and get the ingredients ready that's going inside the patties. Now I'm using 1/4 cup of white onions. Okay, you want to mince them up real small because these onions are going inside of there raw. You can use another onion of your choice. I think the white onion paired with it quite well, so I'm gonna go ahead and add those onions in there. Now for the seasoning, I am going to be using 1/2 a teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, of course, because it ain't a recipe without the garlic. Y'all should know that by now. And if you've been watching me since the beginning, you know I swear by this Zatarain's blackened seasoning. Okay, so I'm gonna use a half a teaspoon of that Zatarain's blackened seasoning and 1/2 a teaspoon of coarse sea salt. Okay, I'm gonna mix that all up until it's nice and good. Now of course we gotta put something in there as a binder, so what I'm using is 2 eggs. These eggs are not large. If you use large eggs, you might only need to use one, but I use 2 eggs, and I'm going to use 1/3 cups of seasoned breadcrumbs. Okay, these breadcrumbs are seasoned. If you want your salmon patties to taste like mine, follow this recipe exactly how I'm giving it to y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna mix that up, and I'm going to use that same 1/3 cup scoop that I use for the breadcrumbs to form the salmon patties. Now I'm gonna just make a ball like that, like so, like that, like Tabitha Brown say, or something like that. Then I'm gonna go ahead and cook those on the pan in medium high heat. Now these salmon patties, they not gonna cook long. They only gonna cook for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side, again because the salmon is already cooked. We really just heating it up and letting it get a nice golden brown crust like that. As you can see, nice and pretty and brown like me. Not as pretty as me, but it's pretty brown like me. So now that those been cooking for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side, that was a total of about 6 to 8 minutes of cook time. I'm gonna go ahead and plate them up. So you know I got my pretty white plate. I'm gonna get some of that Old Bay tartar sauce that I made, and I'm gonna go ahead and plate those salmon patties on there nice and uniform. And of course I gotta sprinkle it and razzle dazzle it with some fresh parsley. Now I'm telling y'all, This was a recipe I came up with myself. This is my own recipe. It came out really good. This was the first time I ever made this. Most of the time when I give y'all a recipe, I make it first. I test trial it out and then I make it, but this was a one shot, one hit, and it was really good. Please, y'all, like the video, share it. I will have the recipe in the description as well as the comment section.